Update on a FSDO seemingly out of control, a legend gets her wings chopped off, and a young woman from Belgium is set to break a record. This and more aviation news on Taking Off. Hi, I'm Dan Milliken, and we're brought to you by Gold Seal, groundschool.com. Today, we're going to talk about Martha Lunken, who flew under a bridge, Ken Wedekind, the DPE got terminated out of San Antonio. We're going to do an update. But before we get to those, let's start with some inspiration. A Belgian young lady, teenager Zora Rutherford, has landed in the United States and is on her way to circling the globe in 52 countries. She's attempting this to be the youngest woman to fly solo around the world. And this 19-year-old is piloting a microlight aircraft and is promoting flying and STEM opportunities for girls and young women. And she hopes to become an astronaut. Go, Zora, we're pulling for you. I'm putting a link in the description if you want to follow her progress as she travels the globe. Okay, around a year ago, the San Antonio FAA Flight Standards District Office, or FSDO, terminated a well-known, well-liked DPE, Ken Wedekind. And we did a story on that. What Ken was told was that he was terminated because he attended a fast team workshop that discussed the technique of water skiing a plane, and he didn't speak up and say that it was a bad thing. Not disciplined was another DPE in attendance, and also an employee of the FSDO office was actually there and was not terminated. Ken was told it was also because during the workshop held in an evening, it was perceived that he took a sip from a glass with what looked like wine. Understandably, many people are concerned with the seemingly capricious and arbitrary action by the FSDO, specifically Christian Morales, who took the action, and his boss, manager Michael Carroll. I don't want to do a one-sided rant against the FAA without facts and the hearing of both sides, so I'll tell you, I reached out to the FAA and got no comment, and I emailed both Mr. Morales and Mr. Carroll and got no response. It was clear back then, a year ago, the deck was stacked against Ken and the likelihood of being reinstated incredibly slim. The FAA is well within their rights to terminate the contract with any DPE, and they don't have to have any reason or cause. But the ramifications for this incident are far-reaching. The virtual workshop was all about safety. Now, very experienced and learned people, masters of the craft of flying, have a good reason not to participate in online workshops, and safety is clearly affected. And we've seen it in the year since this has taken place. People have bowed out of virtual workshops, and many are hesitant to teach or contribute to safety programs. In the meantime, Ken and his lawyers have not given up. They're working through the channels to get Ken reinstated and to develop rules or regulations to prevent capricious and arbitrary action like this in the future. In other words, some level of accountability at the FSDO. Now, as a note, I want to say this. There are many, many fine people working at the FAA. I know some of them. We've had some of them on the show. And when I got called into the North Texas FSDO for something, I walked out with a new level of respect for the FAA. They were focused on safety and making sure I understood what the best procedures were, not just in punishing me. So there's lots of good out there in the FAA, and that's why it's really concerning when reports surface since the Ken Wedekind event that the San Antonio FSDO has added to, well, weird behavior. The same San Antonio FSDO employee who fired Ken, Christian Morales, showed up at a West Houston airport, according to airport manager Woody Leskar, and went into a business threatening to shut it down. But like a very sad Rosanna Dana skit, it was the wrong business, and the accusations were leveled against someone not even involved in the issue Morales was chasing. And now we've learned, unsurprisingly, that the San Antonio FSDO is under investigation by the FAA, according to Director of Audit and Evaluation H. Clayton Forshee, as reported by Plane and Pilot magazine. And individuals who have been trying to shine a light on the abuses have, according to them, been retaliated against. Jeremy Walters, the host of the workshop in question, and Trace Clinton, who was also involved, started a Facebook group in support of Ken. And they've reported that they've been bullied by the San Antonio FSDO and also by a retired FAA inspector friend of Carol Ann Morales. A report revealed by the Freedom of Information Act has showed that Morales has claimed to an investigator the opposite, that Walters has been bullying him. And another Freedom of Information Act report shows Morales told operations personnel to make sure to follow Jeremy Walters on his desire to renew his CFI. Who's bullying who? Well, it really doesn't matter. Regardless, if, and to be fair, that's a real if, the San Antonio FSDO has some rogue individuals treating their district as a personal fiefdom, then I hope the FAA cleans up their house. It's been over a year, and I know the FAA moves carefully, but this sounds like it's getting worse. And if what's being reported is true about Mr. Morales, then I hope action is taken before anyone else is hurt. And importantly, if what is being claimed is untrue and inaccurate about Mr. Morales, then I hope that comes to light and an innocent man can be exonerated and Morales' honor restored. It is my hope that the trust between the FAA and the general aviation community is strengthened by the truth, no matter where the truth lands, and that safety can be taught, and that pilot lives can be saved. That's what it's about. I'd simply like an environment of safety to prevail and be encouraged in our aviation community. That's all. And I know there are many at the FAA who feel the same way. Okay, to help segue between two heavy FAA stories, I want to talk about a hero. Nashville helicopter pilot Joel Boyers in a Robinson R-44 rescued 17 people stranded in a deadly Tennessee flood. The flood killed 20, and Boyers, he was heading home to Nashville to celebrate getting engaged with his fiancée, riding along in his helicopter, when he got a call from his brother who was in the stricken flood area. He was trapped on the roof with his daughters, and he decided he had to try, and to his surprise, there was nobody else up in the air trying to rescue people. No law enforcement, no National Guard. And he dodged power lines and had his fiancée spotting for him, and he pulled 17 to safety by the end of the day. If the National Guard or police were there up rescuing, maybe he would have let them do their work and definitely not get in the way. But when people needed him, he answered, "Dude, you rock." Okay, now on to the Martha Lunken story. Martha has been a pilot for near 60 years. Aviation has been her life. Certificated with just about everything, including ATP. She has been a regular writer for Flying Magazine for many years. And here's the biggie. She worked as an FAA aviation safety inspector with the FSDO in Chicago, and later at the FSDO back near her home in southern Ohio. About a week before the pandemic hit in 2020, Martha was out enjoying some flying in her Cessna 180 near her home in Ohio. And she admits that she can't explain or justify her impulsive behavior, but she decided to fly under the newly remodeled Jeremiah Morrow Bridge. She claims it was spontaneous, that she actually said out loud, "I have to do this before I'm too old to fly anymore." Well, workers were underneath the bridge with a photo drone and caught her image. She absolutely admits that it was the wrong thing to do, that it was illegal. She got that call from the FSDO. "Did you fly under the bridge?" "Yes." "Did you turn off your transponder?" "No." Her radio shop confirmed that it had worked loose and was intermittent, but the FAA wasn't buying that. And long story short, they threw the book at her, the heaviest book they could find. Martha lost all her certificates, and because they felt she was an immediate menace to aviation, they suspended her from regaining any certificates. And I say immediate menace because it was a year after the incident before they even took action. I get that what she did was wrong, but she did have 60 years of aviating with no priors. They believe she purposely turned her ADSB off, which determined premeditation, intent, rather than impulse, as Martha is claiming. So after her suspension is served, she can go to school from the beginning, earn a sports pilot's license. In the meantime, Flying Magazine has put her column on hiatus until early next year. What do you think? Was Martha's punishment what was needed and deserved, or was it too severe? Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And finally, on the news side, there's been a couple of accidents, one near where I am. Don't know the cause, but it's August, and many of you fly where the heat is getting bad. Remember that density altitude is real and will affect the performance of your airplane, so always take into account the density altitude. That's the news. One thing I'd like you to consider, our friend Martin Polly has organized a fundraiser for the Woody Williams Foundation that benefits Gold Star families, as well as the Air Safety Institute. Bid on the posters to help raise money for a great cause. I put the links in the description. And one other thing I want to mention, I still have plenty of videos from AirVenture that I'll be releasing over the next month. And look for episodes of In the Hangar that we recorded a few months back to start releasing again every Friday at 3 p.m. Central like before. And don't forget Flying Eyes. There's going to be a huge announcement soon, and you can use our Taking Off code, all caps, one word, good for 10% off at flyingeyesoptics.com. And finally, thanks to our Hangar Club members and Christie's Patreon team. Your support means a lot to us. And always, remember superior superior judgment trumps superior skill. Fly safe.